I'm Gary Cunningham.
And I'm Curtis Pace. I'll be behind the camera today because I'll be the cameraman for this green screen.
Me and Curtis are AS Level Media students at the Billericay School. Our task was to create an opening sequence. For opening sequence we used a variety of technologies to help us create the best possible thriller sequence with the resources we had at our disposal. The title of the film is The Opal Affair. Before we started our opening sequence we completed a preliminary task which was part of our research and planning. During this task we experienced with different camera techniques and camera shots such as close-up, mid-shot and point-of-view shot. We then got introduced to the editing software Final Cut Express. We used this to edit our film and make sure the cuts were all in the correct place. After our preliminary task, we set out to plan for our opening sequence. To do this, we watched a variety of opening sequences of different standards. We watched high-budget opening sequences, such as Skyfall and The Dark Knight, and low-budget opening sequences, such as The Field in England and The Ellington Kid. This was done to get a good idea of what makes a good opening sequence. We also looked at defining media language and how we would input this into our task. We had to pre-plan the storyline of our sequence beforehand. However, we decided to change the narrative and the feel of the film because we thought we were not satisfied with the way the product came out the first time round. We had our first idea, Mikey. This was the idea that we decided to scrap. We scrapped it because we wasn't entirely satisfied with the way that the characters were made and how they turned out. We didn't have enough space to film in, and generally the idea wasn't as good as we thought it would be on camera. Eventually we used this setback from Mikey to get to our final idea of The Opal Affair. In our opinion, The Opal Affair was a much better product than Mikey. This was because we took more time to plan the overall product. We took into account spacing, lighting and camera angles. With regards to camera angles, we were more creative. We used panning shots, point of view shots and tracking shots too. This was to keep the audience engaged throughout our sequence. With Mikey, we used still shots all the way through. We found this very boring and very repetitive. We chose a location which we thought was appropriate for the film. The location was a house. Within the house we used several rooms. The bathroom for our first scene, then we moved down to the stairs, then we used the kitchen and we even used the front of the house, the front garden. The film was shot on a Nikon D3100. Whilst using a tripod in some shots to keep the camera steady. Our first scene was shot in the bathroom of the house. We chose this room because it was important to the narrative and also had good lighting and good spacing to film within. Our next scene was a tracking shot of our actor coming down the stairs. We learned how to use this in our preliminary task. This shot was tracking the feet of the protagonist. Our third scene was shot in the kitchen. We chose this location because there was a white wall. This made it easier to show the effect of the blood dripping down the wall. The kitchen allowed us to have a large enough space for our actress to lay down comfortably. This was important because she had to stay completely still as she was playing a dead character. Our final shot was shot within the front yard of the house. This was done because the narrative made it necessary for some interaction between our main antagonist and the next door neighbour. After we had completed filming, which took 2 days, we then started post-production. Our post-production was done using Final Cut Express. We used our knowledge of this product from our preliminary task to aid us in this. However, we also learned about new techniques during the editing process of our opening sequence, such as importing sound, music and titles. We imported the sound effects of a police siren, the music which I composed myself. We created the titles using iMovie and imported them into Final Cut. When we finished editing our product, we were able to upload it to YouTube for other people to see. This is a prime example of democratisation of film, which is key to the film industry today. For example, we use composed music as our soundtrack to the entire film. In order to record the soundtrack, I use software named Logic Pro. The fact that I use Logic Pro and Final Cut for my media product is a prime example of 2 different softwares coming together for the same aim. We thought that the music added feelings to the film that would have been lacking without it. The music was quite gothic, quite tense, quite upbeat. This was to add tension to the entire film. Overall, the final product came out the way we wanted it to and demonstrated the majority of the techniques we were taught. I've been Gary Cunningham.
And I've been Curtis Pace. And I hope that you enjoyed our evaluation green screen.